one of the richest men alive, created a
Hmm.
foundation to try to spend all his money. And the foundation is so big. And even with this, the crappy interest rates, they can't outspend his foundation because it makes
What an
more
interesting
money,
problem to have.
right? It makes more money than a human imagination has to spend it. I'm actually watching Undercover Billionaire again. Look, for everybody that's going to listen to this, Undercover Billionaire, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. There's now 3 seasons of it. The first one was just the one guy. Second season was three, include Grant Cardone was in that. And the third season is him again coming back, not as undercover, but each episode is him saving another business.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you get the full spectrum, the full show of knowledge in one show, right?
Yeah.
Versus over the whole season. It's on YouTube.
So there's
It is amazing.
I wonder like what it is they're getting out of this. Like, is it the opportunity to educate people, to share what they know with people who may benefit from it? Like, I imagine there are quite a few billionaires, anybody who has achieved, I guess, what you could call escape velocity. Like,
Hmm.
nothing's going to touch them. Nothing's going to keep them from living however they want. So what do they do with their time? They just give back. Like,
Right.
because I
Right.
imagine if you're a billionaire, you don't need a TV show to market yourself.
Right.
Like, you just don't. So is the motivation behind spending your time doing this just, I can spend my time doing something that I like and it helps people? Like, is that it? And I'm sure there's a financial incentive as well if the show does well. That's sort of the angle of it that interests
Well,
me.
and there's some. I think like, why do people do things they do anyway, right? I think a lot of it has to do in this case. It's not the monetary piece, but it's like the significance piece. To die a billionaire, nobody knows your name, right?
Depends on, I guess, depends on the market, the market you're in.
Right, and the billionaire, right? Because some billionaires don't want to be like the guy that created duty-free shops, right? In all airports, there's one guy that created that and got the royalties for that for his entire like is one of the richest was one of he just recently passed one of the richest men alive, created a
Hmm.
foundation to try to spend all his money, and the foundation is so big. And even with this, the crappy interest rates, they can't outspend his foundation because it makes
What an
more
interesting
money,
problem to have.
right? It makes more money than a human imagination has to spend it. And
Hmm.
so he used it as an endowment. He used it basically to focus on Ireland, because he's Irish, on Ireland's tech college. So in Ireland, there's like an MIT equivalent college. This foundation like funds that school. Built it from scratch, by the way. Like there was nothing, and then there's this ginormous campus, and it funds the school because he wanted Ireland to be, well, one of the best educated countries in the world for his
Wow.
own personal reasons. Nobody knows his names. I can't even tell you his name. I just know he existed. Anyway,
Flavor of the month is duty free, right?
yeah, all because of duty free stuff. And so the so these guys, so Ben Stearns, he's the initial propagator of this TV show, right? He
Hmm.
believes in the American dream. That's his point of view, right? He believes that because he had, he not dropped out of fourth grade, but failed fourth grade, knocked up a girl at 14, um, just really didn't do very well. And then became a billionaire, right? Worked his butt off and figured it out. And so now he's just trying to help inspire and educate everyone else that it can be done and how it can be done and under what conditions. So
Hmm.
that's his reasoning for doing it. So he did and he went to Erie, Pennsylvania, I think is where he went. And in the winter, and he almost died filming the first show. Like he got pneumonia, and they had to like he was because he was sleeping in his truck
He
because he
wasn't
only had
taking
a
enough vitamin D.
no because he had $100, a dually truck, and a cell phone. That was all he assets he had, and it was fucking winter.
I feel like I remember hearing about this.
Yeah. And what you didn't know is that he can't he eats food through a tube in his stomach as well. So he's also prone to I'm like, you are fucking crazy. Like you almost died, sir. Like twice. Like I almost watched you die.
It was amazing television.
It was
But
amazing television.
worth it.
And in the first episode, he was undercover. Nobody knew who he was. Honestly, nobody knew who he was anyway, right? And then with the second season, he got a hip hop artist, a hip hop R&B producer, a Grant Cardone, right, and all his stuff, and one other, don't even know. Oh, she's what is she? She cut her teeth in construction, and then does land development, right? Like interior design type of stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so there's three different types of billionaires undercover in some place they've never been, right? And you get and it cuts between all three to see how they're figuring things out.
Yeah.
Again, it's a PhD in business because now you're learning from three different perspectives. And then this third season is Ben going back under his real name because they know who he is, right? And finding kind of like a bar rescue type of thing. So finding
Yeah.
businesses that have, but now instead of 90 days, he has to turn around this business in 27 days
Why 27?
because I don't know, it's some arbitrary number, really. It sounds great. But he says that most businesses don't have 3 weeks of reserve cash,
Okay. All right. So that
right?
sort of gives you like, all right, you might not have 3 weeks of reserve cash, but if we can start turning things around, that'll at least get
Right.
you to 4.
Right.
Okay.
And again, right, his whole point is to inspire the turnarounds, right?
Sure.
Inspire businesses to do the thing. And first episode was this coffee shop. It was basically evaluated at $25,000 when it first started. That's it, right?
Low
Uh,
barrier to entry.
and all he did was, well, he did two things. He gave strategic advice, right, and a little bit of coaching. And then if just following through and doing the work, he invested, like he brought her an espresso machine, right, and then later bought some like we figured like kitchen stuff, right, to replace the old kitchen stuff that she had in there. But he doesn't do that unless you are already making the
Right.
decisions and doing the thing, right? Like if you're doing the thing, he's like, okay, let me get you this
Yeah. If you're
kitchen
actually
investment.
motivated to turn your shit around and
Yeah.
not just soak up my money
Right.
because I understand a good investment from a bad investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it kind of gives her like a business loan in a way, but they don't talk about it. So like in this coffee shop slash thing, right? Bakery, the kitchen was like across the way a little bit, right? So she had to walk like out of the building into a new building and then back and forth again, right? So it's just like, well, let me just fix this one kitchen where you're at, right? And move forward. And they use their own assets.
Mhm.
Like her father and her brother owns a construction company, right, as well, and she's kind of part of that. So there's a very entrepreneurship thing going on, and so in the back there's this big grassy area. I was like, well, why don't you turn that into an outdoor seating area to increase the capacity,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, yes, and so she hired her family's construction company for free, right? As an investment, as equity owners, to build this out, right? For
Yeah.
something that they didn't ever think about doing, right? So she just uses what they already have and then make suggestions to improve the
Like
one thing.
let's unlock your imagination. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. She was originally trying to make it as a bar / coffee shop, right? Which is a Harold and Maude's type of deal.
Two different clientele, I would imagine.
It is, and also because of the city ordinance, she can't open till 9 o'clock, just because she serves alcohol. But nobody drinks
And
coffee at
people-
9 o'clock, right? She's
Yeah.
missing all the cups of coffee that she could be selling in the morning at 6 o'clock while people are getting up and need coffee. And that was the first thing. He was like, that's got to go. Like, she needs to let go of that. And she did, right? She let go of it. She ripped it out, which is a small corner, right? It wasn't even like, it made $1,000 over the entire year.
That's not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money, right? Because she wasn't looking at the data, right? She was looking at her heart.
Well, your heart can lie to you. That's
Yes.
that's for sure.
100%.